Hi there, hello.
Ha, you fool. You thought I was gone for good, but I came back.
I'm just gonna stop wasting time. So, drawing and practicing the drawing are things that go hand in hand. That's kind of obvious if you've drawn for a while. You cannot improve without practicing, that's just a given. But often it's a bit difficult to practice because we don't necessarily know how or how we can improve our practicing, if that makes sense. So here I come, your saving grace, with some tips that could help you. I have a whole list here, and I have no idea how long this video is going to be, so just bear with me if you can. When practicing, practice with the intent to improve. That's going to be our first one. What I often found with practicing is there are two ways you can practice. You can just practice by just drawing, or you can give yourself a certain mindset that I personally found a lot more helpful. And that mindset is thinking to yourself, okay, I am going to improve. I'm practicing to improve. I can't really give you any scientific backup for if it works or not, but it works for me. And honestly, that it doesn't matter what is factual or not. If it works, it works, because our intent is not to be scientifically correct in how we practice, but just practice, get better. That's our main goal. And I cannot emphasize this enough. In my genuine experience, I would learn quicker and improve faster when I thought to myself that I'm doing this to improve, and not just I'm doing this because I need to practice. I can't explain it, but it worked for me. That's why I'm putting it here. Honestly, out of all the tips I'm going to give you in this video, ultimately I think this is the one to live by, because I swear by this thing. It worked for me, and I am so sure it's going to work for you. If it doesn't, I apologize, but it should. I am confident. This next one is also something that I found really helpful for me personally, and I really recommend you try it. Have an idea of what you want to accomplish. Well, duh, we are here to improve. Is that not what we want to accomplish? Yes, but I do want you to be more specific about it. It's easier to know which direction to go when you know your destination. So I'm talking about things like art style. What kind of art style do you want? What kind of shading style do you want? Do you even want a shading style? How are you going to create your anatomy? How is it going to look? Are you going to elongate limbs and things like Taikubo? Or are you going to be more accurate like Masashi Kishimoto? Or do you want to stylize it but keep it realistic like Hajime Isayama? Obviously you don't have to look specifically at manga artists or artists to figure out what you want, but you need to know what you want to improve in order to improve on it. Here's an example. So I personally want a semi-realistic style. I am a very big fan of those kinds of art styles. I want it to look real and look like it has volume, but at the same time I don't want it to look like I took a picture of someone. I like that stylization, but I love the realism. And that's what I work towards when I practice my drawing. And if you have an idea like that of what you want to accomplish, then you know what to practice on and how to practice it, and how you can make your art style or just your work in general the way you want it to be. I mean, you can't exactly achieve a goal you never had. See where I'm going with this? Now, if you already know what kind of art style you want to go for, then look at aspects of it. What do you struggle with? Is it the three-quarter view? Is it a side view? Is it just anatomy? Focus on that. On screen you should see a video of some practicing I did. You'll see a lot of the things I struggled with were things like the three-quarter and side view. Detail, that was a big one if I remember correctly. That was a huge thing. Another thing is posing. Posing the character, foreshortening, that's something I really struggled with. And you see I put it all into action and I practiced it. Some I would practice more than others, depending on where my priorities were at the time, but ultimately I practiced them all and I did improve on them all. The next tip is very similar to the one I just stated, but with a little bit of a twist. Ultimately it's the same tip split into two areas. Analyze down to detail what you did wrong and fix it. So like I said, it's similar to the previous one, but a little different. This isn't actively drawing, I guess. It's rather looking at previous drawings or previous practicing sessions and kind of figuring out why that doesn't look great or how it can be improved. And we're talking detail here, not just, oh well, the pose is off. Why is the pose off? Why does it look strange? And then you work through that. Another part of this is the fact that we have this tendency to fall into habits, that we are creatures of habits, that's human. But often we fall into bad habits. And so you might want to look at your technique even, not just the overall picture, but your technique. What could you improve? What do you think is causing you to draw like that? Is your paper not straight? Is your pencil being held in a way that's uncomfortable? Things like that. It actually can impact your work a lot, trust me. Try to keep everything you do intentional, because ultimately that's what we want, and trust me, this will help you draw a lot faster when you know exactly what you want to do and how you're going to draw it. Like, keep it intentional. Try not to fall into automatic drawing. Alright, final tip for this video, and I will probably do another practicing tips video in the future when I learn more, but for now this will do. Consider everything you draw as practice. So this is very important because we're drawing all the time, we want to draw all the time, and often we don't always have the time to get out a separate piece of paper and practice drawing on that. So rather than that, practice whenever you're drawing. So say you're doing a manga page, practice what you want to practice on that manga page. It might not always turn out well, it might sometimes turn out great, but ultimately you want to practice, and the only way you can improve and produce better pages in manga is by doing it and failing. And honestly, as I've said in a previous video, nobody really pays that much attention to the artwork unless they are an artist themselves, that they will tell you, oh, this is a little bit off, therefore it's bad. No, it isn't. It's practice. And on screen I have some examples where I drew pages and I practiced things. You'll see I practiced my cross hatching. I practiced my hatching, I practiced posing again, and also foreshortening the human body. You'll see in that example, I wasn't doing too great, the perspective was off quite a bit, but it isn't so immediately obvious that it actually looks fine from a distance or a quick glance. So you really don't have to worry about that. I do recommend when you draw your pages, go ahead and practice in them. There are some examples from Breakout as well, which I'm going to show you now, and you'll see some of them didn't look too good. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter all that much, especially when you're still learning and growing. Doing this will also sometimes make your pages look way more dynamic, way more interesting, because you're trying new things instead of just doing what you're comfortable with, because that gets stale over time. And I will show you some more footage where I was trying different poses and things that I really am not the best at, but it worked out well. So go ahead, practice, improve. And this time around, that's all the tips I have for you. I will be doing another practicing tips video eventually, but that's more when I myself have learned more. Unless I just think of some extra ones, in that case, and you'll be getting another video very soon. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Not yet, at least. We'll see. Thanks for the view, bucko! I hope the video was actually worth that view. And yeah, I will be uploading another one hopefully next week. We'll see. Bye-bye.